involved now. Be on the right side of history. Be on the side of good. Wear the white hat. This is your chance to be involved in human history.
You get in my face with that, I'll beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch. You piece of shit. You fucking goddamn fucker.
There's a fucking murder right down the hall.
We should not submit to dehumanization. I don't know about you, but I'm concerned with what's happening in this world. We're going to stand up and we're going to be human beings. We're going to get fired up about the real things, the things that matter. Creativity and the dynamic human spirit that refuses to submit. Well, that's it. That's all I got to say. Continue your course.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Side with Side. We're going to start off with a video from the great John Bound.
And some of my Democratic friends even occasionally say, well, if you can't get the votes by executive order, you're going to do something. Things you can't do by executive order unless you're a dictator. We're a democracy. We need consensus.
Biden has also proceeded over a stock market rigged in favor of hedge fund billionaires tied to his Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen.
Yeah, so she received $810,000 from Citadel for past speaking gigs. And Citadel infused Melvin Capital Management with billions when they got hammered for their GameStop shorts. So this raises the question, should Janet Yellen, as Treasury Secretary, recuse herself from advising the Biden administration on what to do about GameStop?
And destroyed 70,000 jobs, a presidential record in his first day in office. Not to mention, he has opened the borders for tens of thousands of COVID migrants to spread into the United States during what he has described as the darkest days of the pandemic.
And here's the simple truth. Our darkest days in the battle against COVID are ahead of us, not behind us.
Meanwhile, Biden's friends and family are licking their chops over further sweetheart foreign nepotism deals.
The Biden family apparently still using Joe and Joe's name for business. Look at this ad that Joe Biden's brother has been promoting. This is Frank Biden, and he's promoting his relationship to his brother, the commander-in-chief, in an Inauguration Day advertisement for the law firm that he advises.
Well, Biden Inc. is still in business. And Maria, I just ask you, well, what does a senior non-attorney advisor do in a law firm? He makes connections. He peddles his influence. And there was another report, by the way, that Hunter Biden was, apparently he was supposed to give up all his ownership in these Chinese companies. But a report came out yesterday that said he still apparently has his 10% stake in BHR, that private equity firm in China.
Of course, we can't talk about this on social media because you will be labeled, you will be attacked because you're talking about a truthful story.
At this rate, Biden will be known globally as the first dictator the United States has ever seen. John Bound reporting.
All right.
InfoWars, the most banned network in the world.
The year 2021 is now here.
All right. Welcome back to the Side with Side. February 4th, 24th day of America. I think it's like the 21st day of America held hostage. I am Chris from Austin. Wesley Boy, how are you?
We're going to have to change up the show. We're going to have to both be trannies now. And we're going to have to learn communism and everything, or else we're domestic terrorists, So cool. That's going to be fun. I like it.
We got to start doing like the first 5 minutes, the first 10 minutes of the show are going to be education on xenophobia and what's that one word they like to throw around? Systematic institutional racism.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get that. I posted on the locals today a picture of a face mask that I'm gonna get. It's a piece of fake skin stuff that you have to surgically, which it just means binding to your face the special solvent, special material and glue that you have to use a solvent for, or else it'll rip your face off. So there's that, and it's a gas mask little thing, and I can look like a fucking alien. It'll be great. Everybody will love me. I'll be a fucking god,
Man.
dude. Yeah, so just to be a freak, I'll do that. I'll like chop my genitals off. I'll start talking about Marx. I'll say, love is love. No matter the age, no matter the mental capacity.
Transgenders deserve more tax cuts. I wonder if they'll actually do that. Like, maybe we should do a sketch where like, Biden has an executive order where transgenders get like, half the tax rate, and then we get like some really tough manly dude who decides to be a trans just for the tax.
Right. So you don't have to chop your genitals off. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to actually change. You can feel however you want to feel.
It's all BS, man. Like, I can't believe they actually, like, it's such a disgusting, stupid, out of your mind thing that they're doing, and all these college kids are just going along with it. Like, I'm so thankful I had, a good, decent. My family wasn't perfect, but like, they taught us
nobody's is
sense and values. Like, I always knew that whole transgender movement was a huge joke.
Right. It was like, whoa, these people are mentally ill.
Yeah. I mean, and now it's like we're letting the schizophrenics run the mental institution and set the rules.
Right. And we don't have to pull the article up, but we were talking about this before, me and Chris. They're the military. This is, and since we're on the subject, they're talking about, weeding out extremists, sexists, and racists, and anybody with bias, which we all know what that means. Anybody who doesn't go along with the status quo is going to be a domestic terrorist, and they're talking about, there's a book written by some guy who was, for some weird reason, he was talking to a Russian spy, a mid-Russian spy, about how the KGB was grooming Trump from the beginning, and the only evidence they really had was Trump went to Moscow, married a Czech model, and since the Czech Republic's intelligence agencies have ties to the KGB, so therefore that's proof. And also, Trump bought some TVs in New York because from someone who's involved in the KGB that owned a store in Manhattan. So yeah, I'm just like, people are like grasping at straws, aren't we? You're talking to a Russian spy about what the Russian spies are doing to leaders to infiltrate them. Don't you think he might be giving you disinformation because he doesn't want you to fucking know?
I feel like this is the kind of stuff that happens in the Soviet Union that you're always like, that's so ridiculous, man. Well, now it's coming here, especially because, they stole the election and nobody stopped them. So they probably feel
Ceausescu's America,
Yeah,
A.
here's the thing you were saying. Check this out. Biden Defense Secretary orders military-wide stand-downs to address white nationalism, rid military of extremists. And how do you think China looks at us when, like, our soldiers are wearing red high heels to learn how it feels to be a woman? And, like, I mean, what kind of pussies have we become, man?
Right. I mean, that's one part of it. The other part is like, what are the Chinese saying? They're saying, good, our plan is working. Because, they're in it too to demoralize the military. You don't think there's someone who's making like $1 billion on the side or a few $100 million, like Now we're gonna make them wear high heels and demoralize them. Actually,
Yeah, it's like a real
No.
thing.
Everybody
those-
needs to know the top
up-
brass in the military, like for the most part, is garbage. Absolute trash. Pentagon's a little bit different story here and there, but as far as like the people you see, who's the head of the Air Force, head of the Marines, all of them garbage. They're all compromised, all Chinese agents, and we just need to deal with that fact. We can't just say, oh, well, for the integrity of the military, we can't take them out. And it's like, no, for the integrity of the military, we need to take them out.
Yeah. Like shout out to the military of Burma who actually stepped in and had the balls to say, no, China, we're not taking your candidate. We're gonna step in and fix this. And they set up a military martial law. They arrested the Chinese agent.
Wasn't that Melee or something?
Myanmar, but I think Burma's another.
Oh,
name for it. I think it's
yeah,
the same.
yeah.
It's like
So,
saying
yeah.
Netherlands and Holland or something.
Yeah, there was I don't know if you saw that, but there was a girl who was doing this exercise like acrobatic thing, and she was totally oblivious. They were just like military trucks were rolling up to arrest all those people. She was totally oblivious till it went viral.
What? In Myanmar?
Yeah, she was in front of a bridge, and the military was there, and she was just doing this acrobatic dance exercise video. That's what she does for a living. People pay her for the videos and all that, all the instructions. And she was doing it, and the military was rolling up on the parliament to arrest everybody. And I did notice the lack of mask on the military, so I'm sure they know it's all bullshit.
Yeah, I feel like a large part. I don't know if you saw that chart where the military, most of them support Trump for sure, and that's what they're saying, that even the Pentagon hasn't finished the transition from Biden over to Trump because they don't trust him and they know he's an agent. And this will get into the bigger conversation of, is the military running everything right now? We'll get to that later. But shout out to Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, I was about to say, thank you, Taylor Thomas. You are a scholar. I don't want to say, I don't want to assume your gender. It's usually you're a gentleman and a scholar.
Right. Don't assume genders. Man, it's
no,
so
can't do that. I might be a domestic terrorist, bro. Can't do it.
Leftists they just keep making new rules all the time. Like the whole assuming genders thing and stuff.
Dude, wasn't it funny a few years ago when we were like, they're going to arrest you and put you in a camp. They're going to they're going to not let you open your business. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They're going to be listening to you. They're going to track you, and it's just like, they're going to get hate speech laws where you're not even going to be able to speak. They're going to police social media. Like this one kid said, he said, fuck Obama and fuck the government. So they, on that basis, pretty much alone, which nothing else he said, that was what they used, but nothing he said was like a threat. They arrested him for threatening the president, right? Because somebody reported it like that.
It's actually
like, and anybody I told that to, they'd be like, well, he had to have said something more. I'm like, I'm telling you, he didn't. Well, he had to have. I'm like, he didn't. Here's the police report. Here's a link. Did you read that link? No, I didn't have time. It's like, well, fuck you. You're so passionate on your end, but like you won't even try. And it's just like, but like they were telling me like that the government would never do that. Now look, people are posting things and they're like, now people post a meme, which me and you got in an argument about that. And I will say Chris is right. Robert Barnes set me straight on Viva Barnes. He explained it in a very lawyerly way. Because Viva asked the same questions I did. Sorry, what?
Admit you were wrong.
I did. No, dude, I didn't I could see where people were coming from, and that's kind of how Viva was. But Barnes was like, you would think that, but really the precedent and everything is not set for that. Is there actually, he's like, under this, the people could start being arrested for almost any political campaign. Joe Biden believes this. Joe Biden believes that. And it's like, oh, that's fake camp. That's manipulating elections, sir.
Yeah, it's crazy. Selective enforcement, typical double standards. When a leftist does it, it's like, did you see that thing where like there's no, not to get too off topic, but they've been arresting Antifa dressed up as Trump supporters in Seattle and like the West Coast, and then the cops find out they're actually Antifa, and they let them go and they take them off the terrorist watch list. Like, what the hell is going on, man? This is the kind of stuff that happens in like communist countries right before the food starts running out, and people start going missing.
I think it's gonna have to get it. I don't know. I think it's gonna have to get to a point where people are pretty. It's like it's gonna get very violent, and the police are caught in the crosshairs, and so are the attorney generals and the judges. So they're gonna be like, whoa, okay, sorry, we'll do our job.
Well, all they have to
but
do
right
is
now, what are the conservatives doing?
Put their
like really. What are they doing? Are they? I mean, shouldn't almost every conservative in these major cities be suing and being like, hey, okay, you can't do this. This is like, that's harming the public interest, I would think. Like, you are making my streets less safe because you let a violent arsonist, rioter let loose without any charges or consequences. You are making my city less safe. You are not doing your job of prosecuting criminals. Therefore, I am suing you personally. Kind of thing. I'm suing the city. I am suing the attorney general's office. That's usually how it has to work. But
right.
Not all of us have
Greg DeSantis.
Huh?
Not all of us have a Greg DeSantis.
Right. That's the other thing. That's a good segue.
Yeah, I can't believe Greg Abbott is. He says one thing and like he plays the part well, maybe kind of like Pence, but then, he's going along with all the lockdown stuff. This is meant to collapse America.
I wish I had Whitmer or Newsom because I can at least respect them. Like, dude, you're just a fucking arrogant asshole who's just gonna go for it no matter what and smile when you do it. Well, fuck you. Like, my governor, Kate Brown, she's a fucking coward. She hides and she like sneaks around, acts like this, that, and follows, whatever is good, whatever I can get away with, whatever California and Washington are doing, I'm going to try to do maybe. And then she gets a little pushback and, I'm scared. But all the conservatives around here have an issue with, they don't know how to deal with it because they don't try, because they think Portland is ruling the state forever. It's just like California. California is mostly red. And if everybody would like vote, I'm not even a big fan of voting, but if everybody would vote and get involved in everything, they would overwhelm the state. And that's a fact. Just most people, they want to put in their fucking 60, 70 hours a week, and then fucking go home. The really like dedicated people with money and savvy and everything, they want to work their hard job, which they can do because they're smart enough, and make a lot of money, which I can understand. Nice houses and toys and security is great. But, you got to start fighting for something.
Yeah, man. I agree 100%. Shout out to DeSantis, who's actually doing what everybody's saying. This is what Trump should have done, really, at the national level. Cracking down against big tech cartel. His words, big tech cartel. Or rampant censorship. I think that was one of the big reasons why Trump isn't in office, is because big tech sold the illusion along with the mainstream media. But big tech has that power now. Everybody goes to Facebook for the news, Twitter, trust mainstream media is at an all-time low.
Well, right.
Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, like with the whole like media and everything, they focused in on Sidney Powell, Lynn Wood, and all their stuff, which made everybody, whether you agree with it, disagree with it, I really don't care. It made everybody like have a sour taste in their mouth. And so they knew that, and they hyper focused in. rather than the lawyers who are actually doing heavy lifting, that like Robert Barnes, you know, who actually have a lot of clout, and you can arguably say more clout than Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood put together, you know, because this is a guy who got Wesley Snipes off of.
Yeah.
And
Robert Barnes is pretty smart.
And and you look him up and you'll see his win ratio is one of the highest, because he takes cases that are morally right and constitutionally correct and all that. But they also, you know, he tries to change. He's like an activist lawyer. So anyway, he was running around the country like mad trying to get all these people to do what they're supposed to legally. You know, so if they would have been putting Robert Barnes on blast, like, hey, come on, bring it on, CNN. You know, have Robert Barnes go on CNN, have him go on Fox, have him go on MSNBC. No, they don't want that, because Robert Barnes would have thrashed them. You know, and it wouldn't have been funny. So it's just like they can't have that. So, you know, that was a problem.
Why did it take so long for Robert Barnes to be that, you know, to get to Trump? Why, you know, we have to go through all these fake lawyers that keep giving up on him and backstab him, betray him.
He's used to the corporate world where it's a lawyer or a person does good job for you. You give them good recommendations. You know, you're at the club with your other business partner who's looking for a vice president, and you talk your one dude up and he gets a vice presidency in another company, you know, and it works out for you because you're still doing business with said company and whatnot. So he's used to that. People having loyalty for, if anything else, the opportunity to be a better place for themselves, which is that's how business works. Making others successful, you work for it. Now, in the political realm, it gets a little more backstabby, and, you know, Machiavelli, you know, liars, Machiavelli, otherwise known as liars, backstabbers, and cheats.
Yeah. They're all backstabbers, man. Like, I can't believe I don't know. Did Trump not see them? Did Trump not know? Did he know they were snakes, but he thought maybe they were okay? Maybe he was like,
yeah,
I mean, he gave Mitt Romney like 3 chances, man.
I think he expected orders to be given and orders to be followed. You know, he expected Pelosi, he expected all these swamp creatures who are elected representatives, he expected them to do what they do. But what he thought was, in the federal government, you just do as you're told and just move along. And that's why we're in such a bad place, because people have done that. He doesn't realize that, as in the American, Anglo-American establishment, again, everybody should read that, you infiltrate all sectors of society with your people. It doesn't matter. It can be the local highway department chief. You know, it can be the local, it can be the, you know, it's the union bosses. It's all these people who make the decisions in little ways. You make that they're going along with your agenda, whether they think it's for their own personal gain or whatever. And then you, boom, you know, you implement your agenda through others, you know, and that way you don't control one joystick. You have thousands of joysticks to control. And that was Trump's problem. He didn't think that could be a thing, or he didn't understand it, and he wasn't conspiratorial enough.
Yeah, maybe he didn't get the bigger picture, man. Either way, I don't think we should look to a man to be our savior.
Right. And the thing is, I like how they're still writing stories about Trump on MSNBC. Dude, when I sent you that one about that book, you know, dude, I was like, I saw 4 articles about Trump. I'm like, dude, he's golfing. We're talking about what he used to do.
Yeah. Did you see the mainstream media? I think CNN's ratings are down 44% because all they did was talk about, oh, here's what Trump did. They were like SportsCenter or ESPN for LeBron James. Like everything Trump did. Hey, you know, Trump took a crap at 5 p.m. That kind of stuff. But anyway,
Floridians
play a bit of
privacy
this, dude.
of their data and
this is the
personal
governor of
information
Florida.
protected. Their ability to access and participate in online platforms protected. and their ability to participate in elections free from interference from big tech protected. What began as a group of upstart technology companies from the West Coast has since transformed into an industry of monopoly communications platforms that monitor, influence, and control the flow of information in our country and among our citizens, and they do that to an extent hitherto unimaginable. At the turn of the 21st century, online technology represented tools to liberate Americans from reliance on distrusted legacy media outlets. As social media proliferated over the past decade, citizens could directly connect with large numbers of people and could cut out corporate media outlets entirely. Over the years, however, these platforms have changed from neutral platforms that provided Americans with the freedom to speak to enforcers of preferred narratives. Consequently, these platforms have played an increasingly decisive role in elections and have negatively impacted Americans who dissent from orthodoxies favored by the big tech cartel. And we have seen the power of their censorship over individuals and organizations, including what I believe is clear viewpoint discrimination. And as these companies have grown and their influence expanded, big tech has come to look more like Big Brother with each passing day. But this is 2021, not 1984, and this is real life, not George Orwell's fiction. These companies exert monopoly power over a centrally important forum of public discourse and the access of information that Floridians rely on. It used to be that consumers were trusted to make their own decisions about what information to consume, about which leaders to, quote, follow, about what news to watch. Now those decisions are increasingly made by nameless, faceless boards of censors. They even have a name, euphemistically called content moderators. And we're told that these are private companies and that those who disagree with their decisions to regulate content and even suppress content can simply choose other services. Well, when 2.8 million Americans chose to download the application Parler and share information with friends, family, and colleagues, what was the result of that? Canceled by Amazon, Google, and Apple. What about the 88 million Americans who chose to, quote, follow President Donald Trump? Sorry, content moderators on Twitter pulled the plug, as did a different set of, quote, moderators at Facebook. Cuban? This is the case even though leaders like Ayatollah Khamenei have been permitted to use these platforms to do things like call for the destruction of Israel and the elimination of Jews. Core issue here is this: are consumers going to have the choice to consume the information they choose, or are oligarchs in Silicon Valley going to make those choices for us?
Yeah,
No group of people should
Zuckerberg
exercise
determines
such
reality
power,
now.
especially not tech billionaires in Northern California. Now, if I had to choose, I'd rather be governed by the first 50 names in the Tallahassee phone book than the CEOs of big tech companies. If you don't like Parler, then don't read it. Let's not have those choices made for us, or before long, we will have nothing more than someone else's choices imposed upon us by a bunch of monopolies whose core business is to sell advertising. These behaviors are concerning to me, as I know they are concerning to many Floridians. It's high time that we step up to the plate to ensure the protection of the people and their rights. And I'm committed to addressing what may be one of the most pervasive threats to American self-government in the 21st century, because I believe in individual rights, privacy rights, and property rights, because I trust Floridians to choose which content to consume and which to ignore, and because I want to preserve Florida's rich, diverse public discourse and not allow corporate-owned, narrative-approved outlets to dominate our voices. Now, fortunately, I'm not alone in this fight, and I'm glad to work with the Speaker of the House and other legislative leaders as we take on these issues on behalf of the people of Florida. As we work together, we're united under core beliefs in the sacredness of one's voice, one's privacy, and the protection they deserve in our system of government. Privacy rights are really property rights, and just like big tech can't rummage through your dresser drawers, they also aren't entitled to track your every move. You know, someone once summed it up to me this way: when I invite you into my house and say, have a seat, I don't mean you can leave with my couch. Our founding fathers were deliberate in the enshrinement of our rights in the Constitution to ensure that we, the people, were guaranteed protection against those wishing to violate our rights. Ironically, our early founders were most concerned with the tyranny of government in deciding these rights, but today, the big tech oligarchy has in many ways become a clearer and more present danger to the restriction of the right to free speech than the government itself. And certainly, if you go back and look at the monopolies at the turn of the 20th century, these current big tech monopolies are exerting power far more pervasive than Standard Oil ever did. Now, these issues are so important because of big tech's pervasiveness and near limitless influence in our society. With billions of monthly users and the vastness of information exchange, not only do these companies control the flow of information, they are selling it as well. This is how you think the business works. They take consumer data, sell it for advertising, specifically more than $200 billion worth of advertising in a given year. And that's not really innovation. That's just a different form of Madison Avenue. Now, since its inception, big tech has experienced rapid and extraordinary growth. Its path to expansion bore a willingness to engage in a host of savvy practices to advance profit while compromising the protection of consumers. Not only do Floridians share with these platforms their lives, thoughts, hopes, and stories, but also some of their most intimate personal information. But what most folks don't realize is that all these companies are taking that information, regardless of its sensitivity, and selling it to whoever is willing to pay the highest price. They've even created complex markets and exchanges for the sale of Floridians' information, all the while claiming to never sell user information. Florida's not going to be tolerating that. Florida consumers deserve protection for their privacy. With the help of our legislative partners, we're going to stand together in support of Floridians and put a stop to big tech's practice of preying on consumers. Your privacy is important. We also are going to address censorship and deplatforming. Now, these network of Silicon Valley CEOs wield extraordinary power to the point of holistically controlling the flow of vast swaths of information in our country. In a matter of hours, a business can be dismantled, a community of friends and colleagues canceled, and even a sitting president of the United States silenced. By their own admission, social media companies view themselves as a new public square and are happy to market themselves as platforms of global, regional, and local connectivity. Make no mistake, they are nothing more than advertising conglomerates, and I'm not interested in handing over the keys to the public square to a bunch of companies whose economic interests are not aligned with the public interest. When it comes to the rightful criticism for their editing and manipulation of the public square, big tech executives flee to shelter themselves from accountability as anything but a public forum, and that they have the chutzpah, the nerve, to insist on broad liability protection. Heads they win, tails we lose. And worse yet, a faceless and nameless group of tech employees at these companies now wield tremendous power to censor speech and enforce their viewpoint on political discourse upon the general public. If George Orwell had thought of it, he would have loved the term content moderation. Consequences of big tech censorship are felt far and wide. Take, for example, big tech's approach to censoring criticism of pseudo-scientific lockdowns during the coronavirus pandemic. Well, these lockdowns were almost universally rejected in pre-COVID pandemic preparedness plans. Lockdowns at the time of the pandemic were favored by the, quote, narrative. And so in the name of, quote, science, articles and posts warning against lockdowns were taken down and censored. The result has been the destruction of millions of lives across America, as well as increased deaths from suicide, substance abuse, and despair, without any corresponding benefit in COVID mortality. Shouldn't such monumental policy questions have received a full, open, and robust debate? Social media platforms have become among the most powerful mechanism for a private citizen to make his or her voice heard. It is incumbent upon us to ensure those voices are not capriciously and vindictively targeted. And the worst part, they change the rules constantly based on whatever they deem to be politically correct at any given point in time. These rules and standards are often changed without the knowledge of their users, moving the goalposts on Floridians and others who use these open forums for discourse and as a source for information.
Okay. Wow. Greg DeSantis, is that his name? I don't want to get that wrong. DeSantis, governor of Florida.
Yeah, governor of Florida. Anyway, yeah. No, I mean I like how he slammed COVID too. How like with the mask and all, with like the lockdown restrictions and all that. You know, it's just like
Man,
it's just like the whole mask thing with OSHA, the safety whatever standards, the safety working board in this state, however you can say it.
Yeah.
Anyway, they talked about mask, how they've done all this research for all these years about what kind of masks are better. I mean, millions of dollars, like careers have been built on making sure like mask and respirators are correct for, you know, workers and all that. And the OSHA regulations are correct. But you know what? I like how like in a year, no, we changed our mind. Fuck all those regulations, you know. I was looking up a mask. I was like thinking, if I had to wear a mask, I'm going to be fucking hilarious with it. And I'm not going to get one that gives me bacterial pneumonia. So I was looking up a gas mask, a actual military grade CFNH, CFNR or whatever mask.
That's
$250 and $50 for a filter each. And it can have two if you need it. And so I was going to wear that. But even on that, I looked it up. You're only supposed to wear that son of a bitch for an hour at a time.
What?
So yeah, so even the military grade best, like biohazard, radiation, everything, an hour.
It pisses me off because it's all based on BS, man. It's all based on bull crap. It's not even based on any truth. There's nothing scientific about it.
1 hour. 1 hour is the longest period you can wear a mask.
Man, I wear the same bandana 8 days in a row. I was trying to go into this one gun shop in San Antonio. Shout out to Alder Bridge, something like that, gun shop. And like the dude wouldn't let me in because I had a bandana. So actually, points off for that. I had a bandana and he was like, "Oh no, it has to be closed all the way around at the bottom." Man, it's not even based on science. And even if the mask did work or whatever, the cure rate is 99.98%.
Right. If you're not old and deficient and way deficient in vitamins and way unhealthy, you know, yeah, you may die from it. But even if you anything in that other than that, you're fine. Like really, and you know, it doesn't take much like what you think to make a pandemic or epidemic happen. To like an actual 3 to 5% of the population gets very sick over something and dies. That's a big deal. But this is like 0.000 something percent, you know.
Yeah. I believe at least from what I understand in Kentucky, it's like the death rate is less than the flu.
Right, and that's counting all these things as, you know, COVID.
Shots, counting gunshots. George Floyd. Was George Floyd counted as a coronavirus death or not?
Yes, he was. I believe so. He was counted in the records.
Yeah.
Like a case. No, they don't say a death. A case. It's not a death anymore. It's a case. I had a case of the sniffles.
That's another thing. They keep making a deal about 40,000 new cases. Yeah, but what about the number of deaths? And when you look at the number of deaths, it's a ridiculously low death rate that the news can't. I feel like they can't get the reaction or the story because saying 50,000 cases is more impressive than saying 3 died.
Right.
You know, I know like 2 people that died. Well, I don't know them, but they're like friends or friends that die, and like one of them was already sick with like high blood pressure and I don't know what, and he was already having trouble with that. Well, he died and they labeled him as corona. You know, you think the hospitals aren't getting funding? The government is printing out free money.
Dude,
hospitals are very sketchy on these things, man. They'll do
What if he would have got pneumonia and like a year before and died, nobody would have cared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then like
that is right about the mask. That is true. Bacterial pneumonia.
yeah.
You know, that's why that even
Believe
that
that.
professional military grade mask says no more than an hour.
It's so weird because even Fauci and freaking, I think, didn't he write in 2005? Fauci wrote a scientific paper saying hydroxychloroquine is very effective against coronaviruses. And then now it's like he was like, no, it's actually poisonous. Like
And you know, it's not even that, like, people are like, oh, what's a miracle drug that can save me? All hydroxychloroquine does is shove zinc into yourself. Take fucking zinc. Just take fucking zinc, people. You'll be fine. You'll be pretty much sick. You'll be bulletproof for everything.
Yeah,
Take
zinc,
your
vitamin
D, take your C.
Zinc and vitamin D and vitamin C. You know, and then like a lot of Americans are just malnourished because they have poor dietary choices, or people that wake up and eat Pop Tarts and Yoplait sugar yogurt. So a lot of people dying are already in bad shape. There's that, like, and then like whenever you hear of an athlete that died, oh, she also had cancer. So like
Right.
the media doesn't tell you that. It's a huge deception, man.
Right,
And
dude.
why?
People are told all the time there's cancers you can get from not having enough vitamin D. Like you can almost die.
Yeah,
Like
you can.
pretty serious shit.
Vitamin D is related to a lot of stuff, and you should actually be getting like 30,000 units. That's the optimum dose per day, and like most soft gels only go up to 2,000, 5,000
I
at
have
most.
5,000 ones. I take
Yeah, I got
3.
50,000 ones.
Bitch.
They're
You're
pretty
gonna
cool.
die. You don't have enough sunlight. You're gonna die. Ha ha.
No, I was actually deficient, even though I live in the middle of Texas.
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that, but yeah. Well, you work inside, so you know.
Yeah. So I work like in a building with no windows,
And at night, so pretty much later in the day, swing shift. So
pretty
you're
much.
like, you're like most of your morning and after, and a lot of your morning, your sleep time, morning, and everything's during the day. Like you don't have
And
a
I think I was
chance.
getting enough sun on the walk in to the building.
You
'Cause,
should, and anybody else who's got dark skin who doesn't get a ton of sunlight for whatever reason or the other, maybe you just don't like going outside. That's your prerogative. Get a vitamin D lamp. Get a vitamin D chamber or something. It's expensive, but hey, if you have to just sit there.
My grandpa was sick. My grandpa was sick. My grandma got sick first, and we think she got sick because of witchcraft. It's a long story, whatever. Not getting into it. But then my grandpa got sick, and I gave this dude 50,000, or I think I gave him like 25,000 vitamin D units. I slipped into his drink. Because if I try to explain to him, he's not gonna take it because he's gonna think I don't know what I'm talking about or whatever. And then so I kind of like spiked his drink with vitamin D, and the next day he got rid of his shivers, and I think he was able to start talking again. He actually couldn't talk. It was
Yeah,
scary.
dude. Well, I mean, we've all kind of been there where it's like it's so much energy to even talk.
Yeah. Well, he was at that point. I was actually pretty scared because they're older, and I mean they were like below the range for corona. You got to be like at least 80 years old, to be in the danger zone for real.
Well, dude, when you're in bad health, a lot of things can kill you. Just people don't think anything of it because they hear, oh, he went to the hospital, now he's okay. And it's like, no, he almost died because of this, that, the other, bad nutrition, whatever. But you don't hear all that. But right now, everybody's like, oh, everyone's got COVID. Oh, no. Oh.
Yeah, and I hate how this whole corona thing has become some kind of like cold mentality, like a mob mentality, hive mentality. It's like they've been like all the studies they did in brainwashing people and mind control from like the cults and from the 60s. Look it up. The government runs like a lot of these weird cults out there, and then they're doing it to see how to control people, and then they apply these same techniques at the massive national global scale. You know, check out this article. This is pretty crazy. Check this out. Can you see that?
Sorry.
Judge dismisses violent hammer attacker case because victim wanted to wear COVID mask and judge said she must face her accuser. Okay, that's
Wait, what? What? Go up again. I want to read that headline again. Judge dismisses violent hammer attacker case because victim wanted to wear COVID mask and judge said she must face her accuser.
Let me read
So
it.
she really wanted to wear a mask in court and he wouldn't let her?
Let me see. A judge in Oregon agreed. Man, Wesley, what's up with y'all in Oregon? Agreed to
Dude, we're
dismiss
fucking
charges.
mixed bunch here, dude. I think the Civil War is gonna crack off here. Like right on that Dalles Bend line, dude. We're gonna have to like take over Bend or it's gonna be fucking bloodbath. You know, like y'all stay over there.
The secret police might come for you.
Yeah, whatever.
A judge in Oregon agreed to dismiss charges against the hammer attack suspect because the victim wanted to wear a COVID mask while testifying, and that is apparently a violation of the defendant's right to face his accuser. Oh, very interesting. Originally charged in 2015 for the incident, Pedro Sanchez Jr., now 59, was convicted of second-degree assault in 2017 on a 10-2 jury verdict and was sentenced to 6 years in state prison. Oregon Supreme Court overturned the ruling, however, this past summer after federal Supreme Court ruled that Oregon can no longer convict on 10-2 jury votes. The case was remanded to a retrial. The victim, Heather Fawcett, had been in fear of Sanchez as he vowed to hunt her and her dog down. She cares for her senior parents who are immune compromised, and she refuses to go anywhere without her COVID mask on. Oh, so she fell for the brainwashing.
Yeah, I legally and fundamentally, I do think the judge is right.
Yeah. So she thought she was being a hero, and I guess she had some kind of messiah complex where, she thought she was being the hero because the media told her if you wear a mask, you are a hero. Like literally, there's a coffee shop here in Austin. I'm not gonna say their name. There's a coffee shop here in Austin, and they have like a little board cut out outside. It's like Superman or something, and it says "Real heroes wear masks." I mean, this is one of those people that actually I thought that was for 5-year-olds, but apparently not. This lady's like in her 30s.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting that Oregon cannot convict on a 10-2 anymore. That's anybody in Oregon who should get on a jury. You can hang that son of a bitch every single time. I wonder if you can volunteer for jury duty. That'd be fucking funny, dude. Like, this guy comes in here just to dismiss shit that he doesn't feel is right. Like, I'd be like, what, you possessed drugs? Oh, I'd leave. But that's usually not how, like, meth and shit goes.
I can't believe this freaking criminal ended up being smarter.
Dude, it's like, take the fucking mask off for 5 minutes. We'll all stay 6 feet away. He can see you. You can testify.
It's so stupid, man.
Dude, even in Star Trek, they had the right to face your accuser. And that socialist fucking paradise veneer of a fucking hellhole.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
So it's just like, dude, people are so dumb. And you know what? This judge was being fucking real. Like, he's like, no, he's probably been doing this to everybody.
Dang, he walked out of prison.
No, this is what happens when you. This is what happens when you submit to government authority, and you think that you're
Man.
doing the right thing.
This woman is so stupid. I would have been glad to go there without a mask.
Dude, I asked. I was gonna be an ass. Like when I went to court a while back for landlord shit, it was a. Now people are gonna find out where I live. Dang it! Oh well, or where I used to live. Anyway, no, dude. I wanted to be like, so judge, if we're wearing these masks, isn't that like, right? Don't we have right to face our accuser? Shouldn't we not wear a mask in here so we can all see each other? It's just like I really see like constitutional rights being violated here. It's just like, but it's just like
that.
No, I wanted to, but I just wanted to get out of there, dude. I just wanted to do my thing and get out of there. So I was like, whatever.
She probably
But
your sentence or something.
Yeah, no, doubt it. It wasn't a sentence; it was a civil thing. So I think it was worth it.
I'm making you out to.
Yeah, dick.
My bad. Wesley is a law-abiding citizen of the United States of America.
I wouldn't go that far, but okay.
Well, as far as big tech knows,
I am always lawful. Legal is a different story.
Yeah.
Legal is a contract has been broken and you have to pay. Lawful is I've actually hurt somebody. So I'm always lawful.
That judge was actually raised in Garland, Texas, not too far from some of us.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me see what else we have. I guess we could wrapping up that whole DeSantis thing. Okay, there's a lot of good stuff. Let me just read some articles and then you tell me which one you want to go into. Joe Biden's signature on latest official documents is raising eyebrows. It's official. Biden breaks promise to provide $2,000 direct stimulus check, says Psaki. There's also judge claims New York Governor Cuomo's health department illegally withheld COVID nursing home death toll by as much as 50%. It was being underreported. Rand Paul blasts Biden education pick on bizarre transports edict, and on end times, end of the world apocalypse news. Polar vortex bring below freezing temperatures to every state. Weather's starting to change. Which one do you like?
Cuomo. That fucker should be that fucker should be in Pelican Bay or something. He should be in Rikers right now.
This is a crazy story. I can't believe this dude just admitted to like murder.
It makes me think like if these people don't go to jail, then why should I follow the law? Really? Why? I've asked a cop, give me a good reason I should follow the law when this, and this happens. And he couldn't give me he couldn't give me a good answer. He couldn't even give me an answer. He's like looked all ashamed and shit. Because he knew I was right. And it's just like, why? Why should I even follow the traffic laws? Why should I not just go mug somebody?
Right.
The government's doing shit that's illegal. You can't make someone wear a face mask under federal law. You can't, under federal United States law, you're not allowed to make someone wear a face mask to go into a grocery store. A grocery store is not the same thing as your house. I'm sorry, it is not. And that has been set over and over and over again. But everybody likes to just think that it's all private. No, you are opening yourself up to the public. That doesn't, and that's why you can't discriminate against someone for their skin color or their sex or ethnicity or anything like that. You're not allowed because you're opening yourself up to the public. It's like in Virginia. Okay, a little history lesson. In Virginia, Alex Jones went with his crew to Bilderberg. Well, they were in the parking lot of the hotel that was hooked off to the side of the road. Now, they tried to kick them out, and they got the sheriffs there. Well, under Virginia law, since that was assumed to be a public place where people can come in and hook into the hotel, and it's not meant to be closed off to private people only. Now, if there was a gate and a security guard and everything wanted to pass, well, that's a different story. But there wasn't. It was just an open gate. So the cops did not do anything, and they could not kick them off. Even though it was private property, all privately built, all privately maintained and everything, they still could not kick them off. So that's the difference between, that's one difference between our American system and every other system, which I do like. Yes, there's private property, but at the same time, there is like you're setting yourself up to be a certain thing. It's just like the tech companies. They're setting themselves up to be the public square where everybody can come, make their voices heard, and everybody's got a fair playing field. And that's how it's sold. So I don't understand why everybody thinks, oh, there's caveats now. Like, no, that's always how it's been. Ever since the beginning of YouTube, Facebook, and all that. Like, all of us who used to have a fucking MySpace. Remember that shit? Did you ever have MySpace?
Yeah. No,
fuck, dude. OG social media people had MySpace, It's just
I know. I remember when everybody had it, but I always resisted because I thought it was stupid.
Dude, it got so crackheadish. It was fucking retarded.
In high school,
I used it to hook up sometimes.
Facebook until junior year, second semester. I resisted that, and then I kind of started more friends that were all hanging out there. So it was
right.
I got convinced, and then I stopped using it, and I never went back. I think it's all stupid.
Right.
It's so fake. Everybody there is so fake. Like you would see people like posting, "Oh, I'm so happy with my life," and then you knew they were depressed and shit. And they would only show you the part where they're like having a beer at the bar and living it up.
Right. Well, a lot of things, like, it was all right at the beginning. I understand the allure. It's like, okay, me and you say we're doing our thing and we're friends, but we're not gonna hang out all the time. So, I go snowmobiling. So I post pictures of snowmobiling. It's pretty fucking cool. You go to the beach and you post pictures of you at the beach with your dog or whatever. And it's, hey, I'm doing this today. This is pretty cool. It's not supposed to be like a faking, like, it's supposed to be like, yeah, it's a place to post pictures. It's like, rather than looking through a photo album and all that and, texting people or sending letters or anything, we send messages, we look at Facebook feeds and all that, that's fine. The people who invented social media scaling to be able to handle everybody messaging constantly over and over with pictures and all that and not getting wires crossed, because that's always been the problem. No, that was fine. That was supposed to be like, you're going to communicate with each other now. You're going to, do this. But anyway.
Yeah. Let me get to this story.
Yeah.
Back in May, we reported that Governor Andrew Cuomo, his brother is mayor of New York City. So we've got a criminal mafia family running the whole New York area. And these guys are probably literal descendants of mobsters. I mean, that's what the mobsters did. All their kids went to really good schools and ended up running society later. Well, anyway, New York politicians are accountable for thousands of nursing home deaths because of their insane directives related to the Chinese coronavirus. Applebaum, who was the he's saying during this global health emergency, all NHS nursing homes must comply with the expedited receipt of residents returning from hospitals to nursing homes. No resident shall be denied readmission or admission to the nursing home solely based on a confirmed or suspected diagnosis of COVID-19. Nursing homes are prohibited from requiring a hospitalized resident who is determined medically stable to be tested for COVID-19 prior to admission or readmission. And then here we have this document. Okay, hold up. It's kind of a long article. Okay, so in 2018, As Andrew Governor Cuomo faced a chance to his re-election bid in the New York State Democratic primary, he got a last-minute $1 million cash infusion from the General New York Hospital Association, a powerful New York healthcare industry group, probably run by mobsters. On April 2nd, 2020, he repaid the favor when he quietly signed legislation shielding hospital and nursing home executives from any lawsuits stemming from the coronavirus outbreak. Wow. The clauses inserted into the annual budget bill by Cuomo gave blanket immunity protections for healthcare industry executives and administrators, the same individuals and institutions that have made a fortune moving sick COVID-19 patients to nursing homes. Wow. So he pretty much hooked up all his mobster buddies and then made it a law that they could not get in trouble. So yeah, just go ahead and kill them, guys. You're covered by the law. You know, just like how vaccine manufacturers are by law, you can't sue them. It's the only thing that can kill you and harm you, and you can't even sue them. They get like blanket protection. Okay, so that group of hospitals gave the Democrats an unheard of $3 million in the 2018 election cycle. Of this, Cuomo and his state party committee received close to $2.3 million from various hospitals and nursing home industry donors. Governor Cuomo returned the favor with his directive forcing COVID-19 patients back into elderly homes. This directive provided a massive increase in revenues to organizations associated with the General New York Hospital Group, who were paid handsomely for COVID patients. Yep. So, New Yorkers in nursing homes died at the worst rate in the country and the world.
Right. You know, it's funny. All these states, all these hospitals and everything, they get $50,000 per COVID-19 patient. Right? They have to incubate and stick the tube down their throat. I mean, and
Yeah.
you know, it's like, oh, they wouldn't do that for money. It's like, dude, people kill for like 10, 20 grand all day.
Yeah, doctors are involved in a lot. I hear a lot of doctors are actually assassins because, you know, they know how the body works. They know how to take people out.
And dude, it works out perfectly, you know?
Yeah, and they're used for like MK. I heard this is, you know what's crazy? I heard they're used for like MK Ultra assassination types because they're already like smart. You know, they know how to kill people. And you know that movie, The Naked Gun, by with Leslie Nielsen from the 80s. You gotta watch it. I always thought it was weird, but the movie's pretty much about this rich dude who controls these multiple personality people that you can like snap them, and they pretty much turn into like a robot and they try to kill somebody, and then like you snap them again, and then they kind of they don't even know what happened, like the Manchurian Candidate thing. And one of them is a doctor, and like he gets triggered, and then he tries to kill one of the police investigators.
They're rubbing it in our faces, dude.
Okay, so from what I read, it was like 50% that they underreported the deaths. And not only that, but this dude got an Emmy for supposedly showing leadership during the crisis. And not only that, but he wrote a book where he pretty much just kissed his own ass about how well he handled it, and like the virus wasn't even over. He wrote a book about how good he did.
It was such a horrible pandemic. He had time to write a book and an Emmy acceptance speech.
Yeah, and then like his brother, I mean, he looks like a psychopath. He looks like a monster, man.
Dude, they're power hungry. Gerald Celente, I like Gerald Celente, how he talks about him. Born on third base and think they hit a home run.
Yeah. Shout out to Gerald Celente. He's pretty funny. Yeah, I was gonna say
like,
that too. I guess
these two have never built anything or never done anything.
Like Gerald Celente, he's Italian and he's pretty successful. He actually owns 4 of the oldest buildings in America or something, or in New York, like super historic houses. The dude's loaded and like he knows what he's doing, but he grew up like, he's like a New Yorker Italian, like the
Yeah,
stereotype.
dirt. He was
Real
lower
accents.
class family. His dad just worked himself to the bone.
Yeah,
So he told him. I remember his whole story. He's like, "Go to school. Don't break your back to make money like I did. I want you to school." And so Gerald really likes that. And he's like, "Yeah,
yeah,
no, I mean, I had that opportunity coming from a dirt floor. It
shout
wasn't
out.
actually dirt, but there was always dirt on it. You know,
Yeah,
it's just like what."
yeah.
Where else?
Back
What
to
else
that.
could you do?
And he
Unlike Kamala Harris,
doesn't have
Harris's lineage, where you just get to be head of the society because of your
yeah,
skin color or your standing in life or how they think the gods like you, how much the
yeah.
gods like you.
Kamala Harris, check this out from her dad's side. The part of her Jamaican dad, they used to own slaves in Jamaica. And her family was one of the largest slave owners in the whole country. Think about that. How evil do you have to be to run that? And on her mom's side, they were the Brahmin caste, which were the priest class. See, it's always a priest class running things. And they were pretty much at the top, because they were lighter.
Yeah. Interesting thing about her. Do you know she's not technically qualified to be president?
Yeah, too. Right.
It's like she was born in the United States, but her parents were not United States citizens, which that's how you have to be a natural born citizen. You can still be the citizen, but not a natural born citizen. And I'm of the belief that I think only natural born citizens should be allowed to take advantage of anything in this country. But that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, one of my uncles is like a top nuclear physicist or some nuclear director for India. That's
right.
Like a national security risk.
Right. And there's a guy I know, and I don't care about ratting him out or anything. They can go investigate him because I think they should. There's a guy that I've been introduced to, and there's someone, and he's the brother of someone I used to work for. And this guy is apparently, and I looked him up, it's legit. He's second, pretty much, he gets briefings from Congress, right? He knows what Congress knows as far as like national security and all that, because he's the like one of their big tech bigwigs,
Yeah.
And guess who his wife is? The president of the Philippines' daughter.
Wait, what? Say that again?
So the man who is second to Congress is married to the daughter of the president of the Philippines.
Duterte?
Maybe it's Philippines, I believe. Yeah.
What?
I think it's the Philippines.
Okay, let me.
So yeah, I believe it's one. Maybe it's another Southeast Asian country, but yeah, no, I believe Philippines. Yeah, I really want to say Philippines. But anyway, one of his daughters is married to him, and it's just like, so this guy is in charge of some of the most sensitive information on the planet, and the woman he has sex with and has children with is the president's daughter of the Philippines. What? Shouldn't that be a national security risk? Like, nah, sorry, dude, you can't have security clearance no more because you dated her. That's how it should be. Like, no, pick who you date better. But it's just like that kind of shit just doesn't even get any coverage, doesn't even get any attention for anybody. Oh, well, we've done a check. She's not dirty. Why? Because the Philippines made some sort of, deal with you.
That's crazy.
And it's just like, so you think they're not going to spy on you?
Man, I forgot. I should have plugged. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter. Decide what side. I know we're streaming from another channel called Blessing 777. That's kind of a backup because
right,
we got strikes on YouTube. It's a long story, whatever. But we'll be back soon. Decide what side on YouTube and Twitter and Locals and Periscope and D-Live.
The devil owns the fence. Remember that.
Yeah. Did we cover anything else really?
That was kind of the general like consensus I wanted. The whole like you're a terrorist if you don't do what we say. That's kind of everything we talked about today, whether it was big tech, whether it was COVID, whether it was, the military, Trump, the whole precedent now for, domestic terror, and even the stuff we didn't talk about. It's like with Joe Biden's signature, we didn't even talk about that. It's just like everything is coming at us, and it's all about humiliation and domination.
Well, let me remind people. What was I gonna say? You talk about the signature.
We didn't get in depth on it. We talked about it together, not on the show.
Man, I forgot what I was gonna say. Linking it back to the bigger picture. It's human extermination plan. This is where the international bankers are trying to crush the middle class so they can buy everything for cheap and pretty much be ultimate rulers. But then China's also involved trying to take down America, and they think they're gonna have a one world communist government.
Right.
Their
and
own
if say all these plans these people have just come to fruition, every single person bends the knee, fucking puts the mask on, and takes the vaccine, dude, they'd be standing around, haha, we got him, yeah. And then they'd just be figuring out how to fuck each other over.
Yeah.
So it's just like these people have no loyalty, they have no purpose. All they know is destruction. I am the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's all you have to know in the very end.
Yeah, think about it. I think now it's pretty apparent it's a battle between good and evil. There's no political solution to a spiritual problem. Quote
So
Steve-
decide what side.
Yeah, decide what side. Freedom or slavery. I mean, you're gonna have to make a choice sooner than you think. I know a lot of people are still caught up in the whole old system, but things are gonna start changing real soon. So side by side, and we'll end it there.
Peace.